What's up, you guys, and welcome back on another episode of The Smart Talk, where we talk about real struggles, real stories, and entrepreneurs that came from the ground up. Today, I have two very special guests here today. I got my boy Seth and Narayan here today. What's up, y'all?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, shit, man, you guys look dead, bro. Y'all all right?
My coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
Oh,
shit.
I appreciate you guys coming out here today. I just wanted to, I want people to, know you guys' story, how you guys got into real estate, and, hopefully inspire young realtors that got into the business and industry, just to help them elevate their game, and hopefully you guys, they take something away from it and, build onto their own character and their own business. So tell me a little bit more about you guys yourself.
Yeah.
You go first.
My name is Narayan Khalsa. I started real estate, just been in the business just under 3 years. I actually started getting my license when I was living abroad. I was kicking it, had so much time on my hands. I was like, what do I want to do with my life? Trying to figure out what my values were, what type of lifestyle I wanted, what the kind of person I wanted to become, all of those little things. And I started reading lots of books, watching lots of YouTube, and everything kind of pointed towards real estate. You could become your own boss. You're in control of your own schedule, your own paycheck, pretty much your own destiny. I mean, you can make excuses, but ultimately, it's up to you to take control and to, really create the life that you want. And I really like that, and it's something that's really diverse. And, it's never the same. Mm-hmm. No one deal has been the same for me, so it always keeps me on my toes, very engaging, interesting. And I feel like today's world where there's so much going on, so many people have ADHD, all these things, it's kind of fun being in real estate where I never, I'm always kind of in it and engaged and having fun, meeting new people, socializing, networking. I didn't know all of this until, I got into it. But, when I started, I was just I wanted to create wealth for my family, for my friends, my community. And I didn't want to work till I was 65. I wanted to be able to enjoy life. I wanted to be able to, be smart with my money. And, I just thought that real estate was where it was at. So that's kind of what brought me into real estate.
No, that's beautiful, bro. Yeah. Beautiful. What about you, Seth?
I have been in real estate now for almost 5 years in April. By the way, Narayan is killing it. He's an amazing broker. So
Thanks,
I'm really grateful to have Narayan on the team.
Yeah, he's a good guy for sure.
It's terrible. So I started real estate in 2020, right before COVID happened. So it wasn't really I didn't know that was coming up. And then as soon as I took my test, COVID happened, the whole world shut down. And it was a wild time to be in real estate because 2020 was, when real estate started taking off, low interest rates. Then we started getting into a seller's market later that year. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn quickly. I'm not from New Mexico. I grew up in Atlanta, so I moved from Vegas as well. So I've lived all over. My family lives here. That's why I ended up here. Did not like it at first, but yeah, real estate has been a game changer. Honestly, I'm extremely blessed and been doing this now for 5 years and kind of just growing my business year over year. My first year in real estate, I was nominated for Rookie of the Year with the Realtor Association with GAR.
Nice.
I didn't win that, but it was still nice to be nominated and go through that whole process. And that's when I moved over to Simply Real Estate. So I met Christina and Kiki at K2. They invited me to join their team. And then shortly after that is when I went solo. And then I ended up being number 3 top producer out of 100 brokers at Simply, who are all, all different levels of real estate. So new realtors to very seasoned brokers. And I was number 3 in my very first year in productions and gross commission income at Simply, which was amazing. And then that's when I moved to Keller Williams in 2022. We placed top 5 for teams that first year. We weren't even there for a full year, and I placed top 5. And then last year for small groups, we placed top 5 again. So you have to be 4 or less to between 2 and 4 to be in a small group. But yeah, real estate, honestly, I just have been capitalizing. I've learned from so many people. There are a ton of realtors that I worked with in the beginning, like David Roybal, Joe Maez, Christina, and Kiki. But I just took a little bit of pieces of what everyone was doing, and I was always humble and willing to learn, and also kind to people. It does get you a long way in this industry. I feel like relationships in our industry are so important, especially with other brokers or vendors, title, lender, you're going to end up working with them again at some point. So you don't want, even if stuff goes south, you still want to have that
burn
respect.
the bridge and stuff like that. But that's crazy. You're like doing those type of numbers and sales. Like when it comes to real estate, because I'm also obviously in real estate too. Like knowing people, you just moved here 5 years ago. That's not that long. How did you like end up doing all those deals? Like what did you do? Like
So sphere of influence, I'm a very outgoing social person, so being extroverted, it's easy for me to meet people. And then, my first 2 clients, one I met downtown from Chicago, and then the other was one of my sister's clients. So it was really, my sister owns a gym, a health and wellness gym. So she's been here for a long time. She has a lot of respect in her community, and family's family, so they're always willing to help in any way that they can. But honestly, it was when I started solo, and then I moved from Weikert to Simply. So I stayed everywhere for a year because I didn't want to like jump around, and I have a lot of respect for these people I'm working with. But yeah, I was at Weikert for a full year and had an amazing mentorship there. And then the following year is when I started to go into like the big leagues with these top teams that were doing, massive production, learning from them, taking bits and pieces. And then honestly, it was just really like getting involved in all of the different types of marketing that you can do. Like one of the things that I was told when I first started was to set aside 30% of my commission from every transaction and put it in a savings account for taxes. But when you're new and you have different splits, I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
So I had different splits at that time, and I was not able to necessarily do that. But as time went on and I started, purchasing leads and then closing those leads and then setting aside money, when I started to get into different marketing, 2021, from June until December of 2021, I closed 24 deals. So that was how I was able to accumulate all of that quickly. And that was my first year in real estate. So honestly, I just hustled. Like Narayan, he reminds me a lot of myself when I started. I was always available, always answering my phone, doing every open house possible. Hey, we're already out showing houses. Let's go see another one. If they don't like those houses, if you're not with these clients, like that's your one chance to prove yourself.
Yeah.
They want a hustler. They want someone who's going to work hard for them.
Yeah.
And I still do that. Yes, granted, I'm a lot busier now, but I still go out of my way to help people if I can. And I feel like that's what sets us apart, in this industry is just
the biggest thing I've learned from Seth is not many people in the business, especially making how much money you can make in real estate, are humble. So many people put on a face. They want to win people over. They want to, make more money. They want to get more clients. They want to build their credibility. But no one deep down really cares as much as Seth does. What I've learned is if you be humble, if you don't care about money, you just help people, the money will follow. Like this guy would sell a house for free if he could. And the reason people continue to come again to, bring him business is because of that sacrifice, that willingness to help people, and being humble and being available for people, any time of day to answer questions and to sacrifice your own time and money to help someone else will, I think, ultimately bring you more wealth. And every time I've kind of followed his lead and taken less commission or paid for repairs out of my own pocket, I've ended up getting more and more deals that are, my average for last year was like 300, 400,000. And then my average for this year is 800,000. And that's because I've been able to let go of those things and let the money come rather than chasing after, those different things. So learned a lot from, how humble he is.
Yeah, that's good. Like, you learn from like a mentor, someone that's been in the game and that's, that's striving to do good and just strive to give back to the community. So I saw this stat today, right, that the average span for a realtor to keep their license 2 to 4 years. Why do you guys feel like that's so low? Like you would think like someone gets into an industry, like they're going to stay there for 10 plus years. Like, why do you feel like a lot of realtors are getting in and out of the game?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that honestly, if I would have started with a different brokerage at the time, my sister knows me very well and she knows what I need. She knew what I needed at that time. I really needed someone to pour into me because real estate's scary. Like when you first start and you're like, oh my God, I got to do all these things.
Yeah, it is.
The deadline, and you're like freaking out. I really honestly believe if I would have started maybe somewhere else, I wouldn't have been able to get the mentorship that I did at the first brokerage because they took on a lot of baby brokers. So they just poured into us. They were on the committees and stuff. So I got involved too right away. So YPN, Young Professionals Network, GAP, Women's Council for NAR. So I was involved. I did a lot of continuing education. But I think honestly, really it's, being available. And two, my story is crazy because I used unemployment to pay for real estate certifications because my mom paid for my school because I lost my job at that time. So my mom paid for my school, and then I paid for, this was when unemployment, I'd never been on unemployment before, so I had accrued all this money because I didn't know it. You had to apply for it every week. And I used that money to pay for the E&O insurance, fingerprints, and then the real estate commission. So and I was able to live off of that money at that time, and then I just hustled. So not everyone, and mind you, there are a lot of other factors that were working against me at this time. So I honestly, I just poured everything into my business, doing open houses, being available for clients to show. I mean, I didn't get any leads at my first brokerage at all. Yes, I did open houses or sign calls, but it's not to an extent like what we're doing now. But honestly, I really do believe it's just having the right mentorship, being with the right brokerage, and then, being available, open houses, showing, sign calls. And then also when you do start making money, you don't have to set aside 30%, but set something aside because you have to invest back into your business.
Definitely.
You have to invest into marketing. There's no way around that. We're in sales, Sales, you have to invest to get money back or to get business.
And you mentioned if you didn't start with the right brokerage, how does somebody determine what's the right brokerage? What advice would you give somebody that's wanting to start in real estate, but you don't know where to go with brokerages and things like that?
I would say, luckily my sister was able to help guide me. And at that time, we had two different personalities, but it was what I needed. I needed someone very stern on top of me, making sure that I'm following all the rules. And they didn't even give us a TC or anything. So I had to do all the contracts. We had to learn how to do everything from scratch, which is what you should be doing. And I feel when you join, I love Keller Williams. I love Keller Williams. We have a great system there, but ideally what you would need, and I would recommend this to anyone that's new in real estate, you should definitely join a team. I highly, and definitely go based off of kind of start interviewing teams because realtors are interested in networking. They're interested in, not, I wouldn't say everyone, but they definitely want to, guide new realtors, teach them the way to do things, because at the end of the day, no one's going to teach you if they're not. I'm not saying that they have to get money from you, but people are busy, If you're a solo broker and you're asking all these questions, you need to learn how to write a contract first and foremost. There's nothing more important than a contract. But, I would interview as many people as possible. There's one gentleman that was on my team, he ended up going solo, but he interviewed every brokerage and then he ended up coming back to my team and Keller Williams because he said we had the best systems and the best education, and then obviously he wanted to be on the team. So, but yeah, I would just say interview as many people as possible because your success will thrive when you're with the right people, and maybe the first brokerage isn't the right one. I can attest to that. I've been to three now. I don't like to jump around. I'm very loyal to people. Stay at least 6 months to a year just so you get your bearings, but go with somewhere where you're learning a lot of education in the beginning. That's what I would say. If that's most important. Someone that's going to pour into you, and it'd be nice to have leads. So that would be another question I would ask if I was a new broker. Will you end up providing leads for us? We don't have to cold call everyone, and I won't tell anyone how to run their business. Everyone runs their business differently. But I think education is of utmost importance in the beginning because that's what will create a legacy for your career.
Definitely. How do you feel when people say oh, realtors are overpaid for the amount of the work they do? How do you guys feel about that?
I don't understand how much time and energy goes into running it. It's a business. It's not an individual. It's a business. We have to pay taxes generally around 30%. We have to pay marketing costs, we have to pay our brokerage, we have to pay all these various things. I have to pay my transaction coordinator, I have to pay for gas, I have to, I'm not keeping that full commission. It's maybe 50% at the very most. And even then, I sometimes work with someone for a year or two before I actually help them buy or sell. So I started in 2022, and predominantly I was cold calling and doing open houses. My team didn't provide any leads, so I was hustling. I was calling, 400 or 500 people a day. I was doing open houses 4 times a week, and I didn't make any money. My first year I closed 5 deals, and I was working 50, 60 hours a week for nothing. I was putting all that energy out there, and I wasn't really getting any returns. So, how do you justify anything? Is it the skill? Is it the experience? Or, I don't know, there's so many ways you can think about it. You're paying me for my experience. If you wanted to sell your house, you're able to. You don't have to hire a realtor. You could put your house on the market, but 90% of people who sell on their own end up listing with a realtor anyways, because it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's freaking hard. There's lenders, there's title officers, there's all these people involved, and there's so many intricate pieces. Like, how is one person going to know all that? It's taken me 3 years just to learn the surface, just the surface. In 25 years, I still probably won't even know, all this stuff. So I think it's more than justified. Obviously who you work with matters. So, if you're paying someone a lot of money to help you sell your house, you want someone that you feel has your best interests at heart, someone that makes you feel comfortable, someone that's actually advising you. Because I'm an advisor, I have a fiduciary duty to help you make good financial choices. And so, I think if they don't check those boxes, then, I feel like in that case, I wouldn't feel good about paying them that, that high amount of money. But if they're checking all those boxes, then I'm sure after you've had that experience with them, you're not going to say they're being overpaid. You're going to be very grateful.
What kept you motivated during that time where, like that first year, you said you were working 50, 60 hours for nothing? What kept you pushing?
Well, I was at UNM at the time, so I was actually part-time in real estate. So my first year I was part-time. I was going to school, and then I would come to the office like twice a week and cold call and do open houses on the weekend. And I was working a part-time job. I was working at this warehouse. It was not what I wanted to be. I was bored. I didn't like what I was doing. I have ambition. I like to be stimulated. I like to have something that challenges me. And I was not feeling like that. Mm-hmm. Not in school, not in my work. And so I was continuing to do real estate. And, that whole year I just kept mindset. Mindset's everything. Every morning we would have a meeting, talk about our daily gratitude, talk about what we're grateful for, what our goals are. And, having a team and people there to kind of keep you looking forward, I think really helps, like Seth said, surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you get where you want to go, and people that are already where you want to go. At our office, there's people that are, selling 60, 70 homes a year, and I only sold 5. Well, I'm going to hang out and shadow those people so that one day I could be, selling 60, 70 homes as well. I think that who you're around really matters in regards to like how your future ends up. I think there's a huge correlation. So I was just like, I'm going to stay around these same people and do what they do, and hopefully it pays off. But I almost quit. I actually did a cybersecurity boot camp. It was like $20,000. I was going to get into tech, and I was going to do cybersecurity, and I almost gave up in May of last year. And then I saw Seth post on his thing that he was hiring, and I just decided, hey, I'm going to take one last chance and see if I can really make this work. Because at this point, I wasn't making any money. I was stressing. I just bought a house. I was like, I need to figure something out. Like, this is so inconsistent. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't live like this forever. It's so stressful. Mm-hmm. And then I joined the team, and then I've been closing now 3 to 4 deals every single month, and my life has changed just in the last 6 months. So my advice is just, you're going to make it. If you try long enough and you work hard enough, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, if you get over that iceberg, someday you're going to just blast off. So it's really just like having faith. I think having faith in yourself, that's the biggest thing. No matter how long it takes, you will be successful. Mm-hmm. So that's my biggest take.
Well, I know a lot of people have gotten their license, like the real estate license the last couple of years. Like, what do you guys do to stay busy and like keep customers coming and have people like be satisfied with what service you guys are providing and come back to you guys?
For me, it's like I do a lot on social media, so I like to do Facebook, Instagram, but I'm always like staying in touch with people one way or another. So like I do add people to social media not everyone wants to be your friend on social media, not all your clients, but a lot of people that know you will refer you business just from social media. So that's huge. One of the things that I started doing early on is I've purchased home warranties for every single buyer or seller. You could get a $20,000 credit or no money, and I'll still purchase a home warranty for my client. It covers them for a year for like all of the major expenses, HVAC, electrical, plumbing.
And you pay out of your own pocket for that?
Yep.
No one does that, bro.
I've never heard anyone do that.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, like, I love to help people. I love to give. Like, I feel like when you give, you receive. I mean, it's a basic principle. And I don't do that for that reason. I just know, like, hey, people will come back if stuff does go wrong. Once you close, you close. There's no recourse with inspections, you know. So if a buyer's pissed, like, why didn't you find this on the inspection report? You know, stuff happens all the time when people move in. So, like, I mean, yeah, it's you know, to me it's worth it. Like, I love knowing that my client is taken care of, and that's one more reason for people to follow back up with you during that year. Hey, Seth, you bought me this home warranty. I can't find anywhere. Can you please send me the information? So, like, I always put like little nuggets with people, just so that they're reaching back out. But I know that you have to give in order to receive. Even sellers like that take their house off the market, you know, they'll come back to me and relist again when they're ready. You know, I don't make real estate difficult. Like, if someone wants to terminate, or if you want to cancel, you know, a showing or cancel a buyer broker agreement, you know, a lot of times people come back to you because they realize the quality of service that you provide, or it may not be the right time. But I don't make real estate like difficult for people. I don't like pressure people like you have to buy, or like, if you're ready, I'll be here when you're ready, and I'm gonna reach out to you. Like, if you know, one of the easiest things you can do as a broker is setting people up on an MLS search. It is so simple, and you can see when your clients are looking at properties, and then you can reach out when you feel it's appropriate. I mean, use your own judgment, but like, hey, I saw this house, it looks really similar to the one that we met at the first time, but you send them something. You're not like, hey, did you see the emails that I've been sending you? Did you send them a house? You know, just go send one thing, and then they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I have 2 under contract right now that I followed up with from last July, June and July, both selling their house and under contract, which is over $2.5 million in sales just from following up with 2 people that were set up on a property search. So it's like, and it's so simple to do, but it's just little things like that. Social media, home warranties is huge for me. I wish every broker did it, because it really shows that you care about your clients. I mean, they're around $500 for a standard package. To me, that's worth it, you know. And it covers them for 1 full year. So, I mean, you can even rekey your house for $95. So, but they'll replace your HVAC, electrical, hot water heater. I mean, it's a great gift, you know. They can go buy their own champagne and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I used to do that too. I used to buy like the Magnum bottles of champagne and all that, but some people don't even drink, you know? So,
Yeah.
But for me, honestly, it's social media for the sphere of influence. I mean, right now, I have 10 closings just myself, and then another 10 clients that I'm actively working with. So 20 different contracts right now, and most of them are from referrals. I only have a few from marketing.
Wow.
But it's all from referrals. So, yeah, I would just say, like, whatever, just stay forefront of people's minds. Post what you're doing, open houses, showing houses, you know, incentives that you offer. I mean, people need to see what you're doing. That's how they earn your trust. Like, the general public will earn your trust. And then working on your reviews. Like, reviews are the best. To me, it's like one of the best testaments to like our service. Narayan, I mean, he's got almost 17 5-star reviews, and he just started getting reviews. That's like, for me personally, like, reviews, like, that people will Google your, I mean, I can see what people are Googling, like how many people are Googling my name and the websites and stuff, and people are looking you up. So like, if you don't have stuff like that to back you up, to me, reviews are more important than anything other than those 2 things. But
I actually had a listing agent. We made an offer on the house. She looked up my profile on Zillow. She read my whole bio, and she called me. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you did this and that, and got that under contract. And then she bought a buyer for my other listing I had in Santa Fe. So I'm working with her on 2 deals, and that was just from some Zillow profile. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So in real estate, I know you guys work with a bunch of different clients, like ethnicities, races, maybe possibly like different languages, barriers. Like, how do you guys how do you guys navigate that? You know, as far as like working with different people like that. Like, is it interesting to you guys, or is it kind of a barrier for you guys? Like, how is it?
Yeah, I mean, Albuquerque is really diverse. I don't think people realize there's so many different ethnicities, languages. I haven't had too many different, client bases. I've worked with a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of Mexicans. I've worked with some Chinese folks, kind of people from all different backgrounds. I feel like everyone communicates. I mean, there's so many ways to communicate, whether it's via translate or via, most people speak English. So, that's not really an issue. I don't know. I haven't really had any language barrier problems. Have you?
No, but I do believe Spanish is like of utmost importance. I took Spanish for so long. I'm like, dang it, I wish in America that like you go to Europe, people speak like minimum five languages. Not just Europe. I'm sure other places, but here in America, I'm like Spanish to me is super important. I have a Spanish team member, but yeah, as I grow the team, I definitely will be bringing in different aspects, such as people who speak different languages. To me, that's imperative because you want to be able to reach as many people as possible. But we really don't. If it's someone that speaks another language, then if we can't service them, obviously we'll get them to the right people. Regardless if it's a realtor, title, lender, whoever it is, a vendor. But I do believe like having your business multifaceted and having people from all backgrounds, to me, is like, we need to have a melting pot. And that's what my team has, which I'm very grateful for. I have an amazing team of people that can pretty much cover everything, not just like in that aspect, but like people that offer like staging or general contractor. There's a lot of people on my team that also have services like that too, so that we can help more people.
I know this past year and a half, like real estate and real estate agents kind of got a lot of backlash on social media and the news as far as like commission splits goes and stuff like that. Like, how does that make you guys feel that like people are kind of like basically like bashing you guys' names and disregarding how much work a real estate agent does for an actual client?
I think there's so many intricate pieces, like I said earlier, and so I think there's a lot of realtors out there that don't do their jobs well and can create a lot of hate and distrust. And so, a lot of us who do care are trying to make up for that, because there are a lot of people that care. And I think majority of people who are successful care for people, and that's why they're successful. So I think a lot of backlash has come from people, feeling cheated and not really understanding. As a seller, generally how a lot of times it happens is they're in a place of more power, having some equity in their home. And so that's why a lot of buyer brokers ask for the seller to pay their commission. But, if I was a listing agent and I didn't know how to do my job properly, I would have just said, oh, I'm going to charge 6%. And then as a seller, I'm just thinking I'm paying the listing agent 6%, not realizing that I'm also paying the buyer broker. So I feel like it just comes down to, like Seth said, having good education, having good systems in place, like being able to actually like provide a service and be an advisor. Because if you're not providing those services, like why are you being paid? And like why should people hire you? Like this a lot of money. The biggest transaction anyone will make in their life is buying a house.
Yeah, definitely.
For most people. So you don't want to hire some sleazy person who's gonna just use your commission and then dip. Like real estate's about building everlasting relationships. Like you want to. It's a community thing. Like, as you sell more and more houses, you'll drive by these houses and be like, oh, I know that person,
Yeah, he sold my house.
So it's like, you don't want to be known as that person who's sleazy, It's like, it's a very, especially in Albuquerque, it's a small community. So, I don't know. That's just my take.
No, that's a good take on it.
Yeah, and for me, let's make a deal. Like, if someone wants to offer a set amount, I have one right now, he needs to net a certain amount of money. He's purchasing a house through me and I'm selling his house. So I gave him a steep discount because he needed to net a certain amount of money, and I don't mind doing that. Like for me, like I don't see dollar signs when it comes to real estate. I just see like you help somebody and getting paid as a byproduct of your service, your quality of service, because things, if they don't close, regardless, you have to be resilient in this business and you take whatever comes your way. Not everyone has the ability to pay, a full commission, so like I have worked with people who are, all walks of life, divorce, marriage, just had kids, like, you know, investing in a property. There are many different aspects of our business, and what sets me apart, you know, for me, I'm like, if a seller's like, what can we do this? You know, yeah, I can talk about the value of doing more commission. Like one right now, we're doing staging, and he added an additional 0.5% to do staging. So, you know, and he was willing to do that. So, but I mean, there's like give and take with everything. So like if I'm representing both sides, I'm usually discounting my listing anyways. I want my clients to have more money. Like if people have more money, they're happy. You know,
definitely.
And they'll send you more business.
Have you ever gotten tipped? In America's tipping culture, I'm surprised. Have you had someone be like, no?
Isn't that yeah, no, I don't. No. Yeah. Just the tip.
Just a tip, bro.
I'll do anything as long as it's not unethical. But yeah, no, I definitely feel like in our business, like if you don't get that listing, like you don't get paid. Like I don't care what it is. I mean, obviously we can't work for free. Like no one will work for free, but you know, you're still making something. So like whatever that is for you. I mean, most sellers are willing to pay, you know, still pay whatever the commission that they have in mind, and a lot of them are still paying for both sides. You know, you just have to be able to provide that value and explain what we're doing, and then, you know, explain the contracts, and they respect that. And, you know, it's just a case by case situation, but I'd rather get the listing at a discounted commission than not sell at all, because you put your sign in the yard, so that's free marketing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think in terms of dollars, in terms of money. I just, okay, I get this listing, it's free marketing, you know, yes, I'm still getting paid, but like there's so many other factors to you know, more business. So that's how I see it.
Wow. So I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but someone told me that if you discount your commission if you hire them, they're gonna discount the selling price. Like, how do you feel about that?
I still give people the same service regardless of what it is. Like, I don't know. I don't see, like, everyone's situation is different. You know what I mean? Like, I build my business helping first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. So, like, that to me, like, I loved knowing that they don't have to have a down payment, and, like, you know, I'm going to try and help with closing costs. But to me, I mean, you see where we're at. Like, our team now, I mean, just to toot our own horn, is top 50. We're actually top 30 because we are willing to top 30 out of 4,300 brokers.
And what's your team name?
Selling the Sandias and selling Sierra and Elephant Butte and Truth or
TV show coming.
Yeah. But to me, like, I mean, quality of service, there's nothing more important to our business and quality of service, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's, you want to be able to provide a service, and if you're going to discount your commission and then discount your service, to me, I'm like, that's, I don't know.
It's a little shady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
the perfect word.
When you're saying you're setting yourself apart from other brokerages and other people, is it your systems and the way you do things, does it come from your own personal values, or is it just like the business system itself?
I would say, I mean, I learned a lot of, I learned a lot of these values from my family. So, mm-hmm. like, I've seen how my sister and her husband run their business. I worked with them for 2 years. I mean, they help sick people get healthy, and just how kind they are to their clients and to everyone that's coming through the doors. I mean, they genuinely are wanting to heal people and help people, which is what I apply to my business. You know, my mom is also that same way. You know, we'll go out of our way to do anything to help people. I do. And then a lot of mine was personal development. So therapy, hypnotherapy, Reiki, you know, healing ceremonies, different things that and I'm not perfect. You know, I have bad days just like everyone else, but I did a lot of self-work in the beginning of real estate. Did talk therapy for 5 years. Sometimes I had nothing to talk about, but still, it's cool to, like, during COVID when we were all shut down, like, I had someone to talk to. You know, it was a lonely time. Mm-hmm. So I just, I think personal development to me, and it's one of the things I always bring up, personal development for all of us. We're all going through stuff. Life's hard. You know, why make it more difficult? Just be the best version of yourself. Yes, you're going to have bad days. You're going to, you know, take 12 steps back and 10 steps forward. And then, you know, it's a progress, but like you get better and better with time. And then I do believe like just the self work, and it will roll over into your business. That's, you know, to me, that's the values that you're talking about, or, you know, that's, to me, that's why I operate the way I do, because I had, you know, I did the work on the personal development side.
But I know you guys take pride in your work, and you guys want to give the best customer service, and, you know, you want to make sure that people are happy with the services you guys provide. But in any industry, you know, there's always some cons to it. Like, what do you guys feel like are some cons in your guys' industry?
Me is if you want to be successful, you have to be on all the time. Don't really get a day off. I work every day, sometimes up until 11 o'clock at night. Every time I wake up in the morning, I look at my phone and I basically start working as soon as I open my eyes. And I'm grateful I get to help people, but it's exhausting. You know, you take home work with you. You don't get to leave it at your place of work. You know, it goes home with you. And, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. You know, like I can also go to Mexico and I can sell a house from there, and that's awesome. And I can spend time with my girlfriend and be at home cooking food while also working on a deal or something. But it's really stressful, and, you know, you're helping these people with one of the most stressful things in their life. And so as an empath, you carry a lot of that burden as well. So, you know, it's not like it's easy for us. You know, people don't understand how much pressure we're under, you know, especially with these big deals and these crazy things happening and stuff breaking, sellers, buyers fighting, things happening. It's like, that's all on us to figure out. Like, we're the problem solver, and if we don't figure it out, then we have everyone angry at us. So I've never been more stressed in my life. And so, like, self-improvement, you know, like, all we can do is be better and overcome that pressure. And, you know, like you said, brokers are in this business 2 to 4 years because they can't deal with that pressure, and that's why they leave. You know, they don't have the right mindset, they don't have the right skills or education or people around them to persevere, because it's not for everyone. So
What about you, Seth? What do you feel?
Yeah, you definitely have to be selfless in this career. Like, I'm on the phone all day, every day, and you know, it is a lot sometimes, but at the end of the day, I've changed my mindset so many times through the years, and, like, you know, you're really truly I mean, you have your days are changed, but I used to do the same as Ryan. I still do, but last year I experienced burnout for the very first time, like, where my brain, like, I couldn't form sentences because I was under so much stress. I mean, last year, with the first 6 months, I was going so hard because I had all these expenses, and I'm very competitive with myself, but I didn't give myself any breaks. Like, I stopped going to the gym, like, do meal prepping, going to bed early. I was just all over the place, and then I, like, wake up, check my phone, fall asleep, or as I'm falling asleep, I'm still texting clients, and I do that now, but I wasn't taking care of myself. So, like, I would definitely say, if you're not good for you, you can't be good for someone else. So do those things that you love, like go to the gym first thing in the morning, or whatever your time, you know, whatever helps with your time management. I know how people have kids and other things like careers and stuff, but whatever works best for you, just make sure you go to the gym, make sure you're doing stuff that you love, eating healthy, getting good sleep. I mean, those are 3 basic principles that I would say for us, you know. To me, it's of utmost importance, because if you're not good, you can't be good for someone else. And real estate, people are excited, you know, they want to buy houses. It's stressful. And if we're stressed out and not happy, you know, it's not a fun experience. And, you know, like, someone's buying a house. Like,
yeah, you want to make it fun. Excited. Yeah, you want to make it fun.
So if you're not excited or happy, you know, and I've been there, I've definitely, and my team, they've been there. People have been through a lot of rough stuff. Like, it's part of life, you know, we go through cycles. And last year was pretty rough, and, you know, towards the end, because I was so burnt out because I was going so hard and not doing any of those things at all. And then I was just like, okay, beginning of the year, started going to the gym every single day. And then, you know, also, like, I was, you know, meal prepping and then getting sleep. I mean, those, like I said, those 3 principles are so important, and they're so simple, but if you're not doing that, you're probably not going to be able to give the best quality service.
Yeah, and no one really talks about this, but meditation and praying, I think not enough people do that. Like, just sitting down, nothing, no phone, no people, nothing, sitting down with yourself, your thoughts, dealing with your biggest fears, breathing. People don't know how to breathe. You know, like, simple things like that, like calming your anxiety down, your stress, like relieving all those things, sitting there, praying, being grateful, kind of thinking about what you have, all those things. Like, I feel like so many people are go, go, go in America. No one really actually sits down. Like, I don't know anyone who does like yoga or meditation, really. Some people can't even touch their toes. People are inflexible, they're stressed, their body hurts, things like that. Like, I think there's so many quick fixes in America, and I think that people are lazy. People don't want to work for something. People don't people think that they're going to get into real estate and they're going to sell like all these $1 million houses and they're going to be rich. But it's like, it's not flashy. Instagram, like all this is just showing the fun highlights. Like, none of that is real. No one shows the sweat, the crying, the stress, the breakdowns, the mental craziness.
Selling Sunset.
Yeah. Right.
So everyone got into real estate watching that show.
Yeah. I was watching that show while I was getting my license, bro. I was all hyped.
Yeah, I know. Me too, dog. My sister's like, you should join real estate. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. I'm about to sign up right now.
Nice. How do you find the time to meditate? How do you find the time to take care of yourself on a busy schedule like that?
You gotta really time block. Like, you gotta wake up earlier. Like, I was waking up at 8 or 9 o'clock, and that doesn't work. You gotta be up at 6:37. Mm-hmm. Basically my phone starts ringing at 8 o'clock, so like I gotta make sure to get up by 6:30 or 7 if I want to like have that time to myself. Because lately, if I go to the gym at 8 or 9 in the morning, people are calling me, texting me, and I'm in the middle of a workout, and it sucks. It doesn't. It's not the same, So I feel like getting up early, time blocking, making sure you have dedicated time to take care of yourself, and just time management. You have to be organized. You're running a business, it's not a 9 to 5. No one's giving you a 30-minute lunch break. No one's doing this and that. Like, as a business owner, I mean, you get it. You can make as much money as you want, but also like if you work too much and you don't have time for any of the other stuff, like what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So like really being careful with finding the balance is, I think, really important. And everyone has their own balance, So it comes down to your personal preference.
Very nice, man. I really appreciate you guys coming on here and hopefully, people that see this podcast, that you put more light into perspective of what goes in the life of a realtor. You guys feel more appreciated in this industry. We're not trying to just hose people. Like, we're really trying to provide a good service and really give back to the community. Before we end today's podcast, again, I want to give a huge shout out to our two main sponsors today. We got Hookah Kings, the top-rated hookah lounge in New Mexico. We pride ourselves on a great customer service, and Merino Media, quality content for your image and business. And I'll see you guys next time on the Smart Talk.
All right, let's go.
Nice.
Thank you.
That was awesome.